I could totally have had these conversations by myself because clearly I'm over 40, but that would be absolutely zero fun. So, as they say, women can't go to the bathroom by themselves. I have to bring on friends with me.
In this special episode of All Things Pink, we'll be looking back on 2025.
In between the two different law offices, I sold vibrators for men with erectile dysfunction. Yes, you
Oh
heard
my
me
God.
correctly.
Okay. I'm going to need you to explain that. Like,
Okay, so men who had prostate cancer, they lose function to be able to have sex,
Mhm.
to be able to
Yeah.
make it hard. So the doctor I worked for was a urologist. He built these things, and they're like salad tongs, kind of that you vibrate as you close them. And it's to
Holy
help
God.
stimulate the growth of the penis
Nice.
in order for a man to get an erection. So yes, I sold vibrators to many different people all over the
Wow.
world. We shipped worldwide, and I did that.
I didn't even know that I wanted to be a pilot. But my mother, retrospectively, would say, I always knew you were going to fly because you kept jumping off the roof with cardboard wings.
Get out, really?
I swear to God. I swear to God. It was the first, the over the porch.
How's your mom's blood pressure?
So,
Just curious.
to that, she would say, I just stopped looking after a while. I couldn't watch. Because apparently I would throw myself off just about anything trying to fly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So there is a trend, and I think it's all that theme of wanting gratification, wanting everything on your plate now, and not realizing there are steps involved. And sometimes you're going to have a job that sucks. Sometimes you're going to have a boss that sucks, but you will learn from that. You will learn from those experiences, as difficult as they are and as painful as they can be. And
I think there's only been twice in my entire career, which is like 26 years, when there's been a moment where I looked around the room and there was a woman in each role. Like I literally can picture the case and where I was sitting because there was a moment of like, there's a woman mediator and there's a woman defense attorney and there's me.
Get out.
And
Really?
it's still very notable. I'd say in the past 3 to 5 years, there's been more women defense attorneys, but most of my career, I had been the only woman in the room.
but I had been treated differently because I speak my mind.
Mhm.
I am, for better or for worse, I speak my mind. And sometimes my editor doesn't kick in as quickly as it probably should. And I've been in work situations in the past where I've just been very blunt because I thought we're talking man to man. And I can be blunt. I'm not being rude, but I'm telling you
Right.
exactly how I feel because we can work through this. And the reaction has been offense from the male counterpart. Whereas I've seen that same male counterpart dealing with another male and it wasn't a big deal. And I
Yeah.
really thought for the first time, okay, that's what they're talking about. Okay. And I was not looking for it. It was just there. And I thought, dude, I'm way too old to be treated like this.
It was interesting. I was raised by a mom who, in some sense, wanted me to always have the ability to care for myself if I needed to. At the same time, I was also raised by a mom who, taught me how to polish the silver and, make cookies and, do all these traditionally feminine things. If I'm being perfectly honest, there are parts of traditional gender roles that I quite like.
And that's
I don't think
okay.
I
I
should
think
have
that's
to
totally-
follow them. But
Yeah, that was my point. Was like you want them because you want them, not because somebody is telling you
right.
you have to want them. And
Right.
I think it's totally and completely okay for women to work and be moms and have other things in their life and still be able to be a mom.
But I think our generation, in some sense, was told that we could have everything, but it wasn't realistic because we were expected to maintain all the traditional roles and also take on all the other roles and then literally do everything. And that's not possible for anybody, and it's not healthy for anybody.
Well, I think it's like there's a difference between like wanting more, and I really think that that should have been rephrased like that you can have more versus
Or you can choose what you
or
want.
you can choose. But I'm pretty sure it didn't mean you're going to be required to do everything.
But that is the reality for
That is
a lot of women.
absolutely the reality. Let's dial that back and like figure out like what happened here. That's what if we got to be hyper independent, it was likely kind of preservation. Like, you know, we were not saying we want to carry the entire damn load. I don't believe at any time anybody said that. I believe that women just wanted a voice.
That there are times, unfortunately, in this general world that sometimes as a female, you still get dismissed. I think that's very common. Yeah. You know, like, what do you know? And I'm like, well, actually, I know quite a bit.
The same expectations are put on a mother with one child or multiple children as in a single person. And what they don't realize is there's got to be daycare. There's got to be a lot of things that go into place in order for a mother to be able to thrive. So, whereas a single man or woman could just get up and go to IOP, get up and go to a mental health therapy appointment. Well, what happens when you have a baby or a toddler attached to your hip?
Oh, yeah.
That becomes a little bit more difficult. And so those expectations that we're not only supposed to be moms, but great moms, we're supposed to know exactly what our kids need and want. It's overwhelming for people at times. It's very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go and add a career, you know, or having to put your wants or needs on hold. There's another level. You know, psychologically, it's heavy, right?
What does it actually mean to be an empowered woman?
Well, I think ideally it would mean that what you are is not qualified by the fact that you're male or female. You just are what you are, and it doesn't need any kind of qualification. Like people say, "Oh, you're a female doctor," or "You're a female lawyer." No, you're just a lawyer.
Yeah,
you're
you're
just
like-
a doctor. So I feel like as long as we're sort of qualifying who we are in that way, it's a sign that we have a lot further to go.
We got to be hyper independent solely based on what we were being almost forced into, or like
Are we
told
hyper
we had to.
independent though? Hyper sounds bad. Hyper sounds like something.
It
not
can be
normal.
unhealthy, and well, it's kind of like what you were saying, like your conditioning. You're like,
Would you
okay,
ever
we've
say
been
that about a
suppressed.
man? Would you ever say a man is hyper independent? I don't think so. I've never heard anyone
No, I would
say
call him
that.
hyper dependent sometimes. Like I'm just saying, like there's
Keeping it real.
yeah, like again, it's a generalization, but we get accused of. The reason I brought it up is because you get this accusation that hyper independence is bad. But where did it come from?
Mm-hmm.
It comes from, there's like this cause and effect thing that nobody wants to see. Like, right? Like, it's kind of like, you know, an argument and people blame you for their reaction.
Right.
Or your reaction to their bad behavior. Oh, yeah, she's just getting emotional, you know, because she's the she. And I was like, well, you know, I've seen some men get pretty damn emotional. It's insane being a working mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's appreciated, like, nearly enough.
No, it is really, really hard. It is really hard. Yeah.
It's
'Cause
all
you,
those
like,
balls.
You get the calls from your daughter. Oh, her sister, jumped on her head or beat her with a spoon or whatever, You get the crazy calls while you're at work and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Yeah.
I did everything to set it up so it would look like I was working in a vacuum. And no sooner than I got on the phone call, and my oldest, who was probably like 7 at the time, showed up at my glass office doors with a sign that he held up against the window that said, "I clogged the toilet, it's overflowing." It was What am I supposed to do
you're supposed to
now?
do. Yeah, exactly.
And now I think I didn't have that all figured out like I think you did. It took me a really long time.
Yeah,
And now I'm
it's
like,
hard.
I will say, the toilet's overflowing.
You have to wing it.
And realize that you're not going to be 100% all the time, depending on what you're dealing with. Like
Right.
sometimes we have obstacles, and sometimes you literally do the best you can, and you're never going to feel like it was enough.
Right. But that's one thing I do regret, that when she was little, that I feel like I could have done a better job.
Hmm.
That's
I don't think you're alone. I think that's normal, to feel like that.
yeah.
It's like you, as you're going through it, you think you're doing the best you can. You're doing the best you can as you're going through it. But then it's like when you get, further along, you look back and you're like, oh, I should have done that differently, or I wish I would have taught them this more. But when you're in the gist of it and you're just hustling, 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 being a single mom, going to work, coming home, okay, you have to do, like you said, the dinner, the sports, the whatever. You're literally just like a mouse on a trampoline. You're just go, 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 go. So you don't have
Yeah.
time to sit and think about like your choices sometimes. Things just happen.
Oh, of course.
And yeah, when you look back, you're like, dang, well, I could have done this way, but
I want to raise my best friend,
Yeah.
I want a relationship with her like my mom and I have. So,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
So I keep telling her, I'm like, I put all my eggs in your basket, girl. Like, turn out well,
Yeah.
please. No, so far, so good.
Yeah.
You can find ways to really be there and be present for your kids. The negative is there's times when you can't. And that's just the way it is because you have to deal with this. There's nobody else to deal with. Yeah, X, whatever X is. Both of my children recognize today and respect how much I was involved in their lives, but by the same token, devoted myself to my business and to helping other people and to help other people. People say, "What do you want for your kids?" And I'm like, I want them to be independent, compassionate, loving human beings. And beyond that, do whatever floats your boat. But my point to all of that is to say that I think that as empowered females, for our daughters, we are showing you can do it and you have to make hard choices sometimes, but you can do it and do it well.
Yeah.
And to our sons, it's showing you need to respect whatever dreams and aspirations the females in your life, if that's who your partner is, if it's a female, are doing. And I think that it is great messaging.
It used to be that we thought we had to teach our kids that we were going to make Jell-O and cookies with them every afternoon, and that was being a good mom. And that's definitely shifted in my brain where, my kids two of them are in college now. One of them's a senior in high school. And I know they're proud of the work I do. I know they think it's important. And, do they wish maybe I wasn't in deposition until 8 o'clock on a certain day? Of course. But I think they see that I have a career that fulfills me. And I think they see that it's possible to do the same. And it teaches them something valuable.
I feel that is my purpose. I feel that helping people, I want that to be my legacy. I really do. I want that to be my legacy, that my friends and family, especially my grandchildren, sorry,
That's okay. Don't be sorry.
will understand why I do what I do. And so that I can perhaps hand that down to them, that they'll help somebody who needs help.
Gonna start a family. And then the last 25 years after that, everything was just kind of put on hold so that I could be a mom. So, yeah. So I never wanted to invest or take anything from the things that I wanted to do, like the jewelry business, because I felt like I was robbing them of things that they needed. So now I'm like, y'all are all old. You're out of the house, and it's all about me now. Basically, the priorities are so different when you get to that age range, and with the experience you all have with different,
I mean, I think that comes from being able to assess and reevaluate. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
About when you're older, you can be like,
Now I know exactly what I want.
Or just what do you think is a fit? I think you get a lot, especially if you take time to understand yourself a little bit more. Sometimes you're wrong. I've seen a lot of people think that they wanted something, or think they were a certain way, or think a certain partner was a fit, and they looked for that person and looked for somebody based on check marks, check boxes. Are they like this? Do they have this?
Yeah.
Are they this? Da-da-da. And then they get in the relationship and realize, holy crap.
But I think
don't even
you
want
think you
this.
truly have to know who you are and what you want before you can even make a checklist like that.
Sure.
And I think that we don't.
Which is the problem. Yeah.
I think I was way more rigid in my younger years with, what I want and how this needs to be or what I thought.
Absolutely.
It had
I
to
thought everything had to be perfect. I had to be perfect. My kids had to be perfect. My relationships had to be perfect. And that's a lot of pressure. And it's so freeing when you can just be kind of broken, honestly. Like, it's okay.
Or really
everything's
heal.
going to go wrong.
Yeah.
And there are things on fire. And you can still find happiness. And you can still
Absolutely.
love someone when they're on fire a little bit.
I think that that's learning those. That's why I always say this. Like, what the hell do we learn all this crap? Like, when we're over 40, we're like halfway.
Right.
Why?
I mean, thank God we did, right? Like,
Yeah. I think some people are still learning that. Take time to explore. Okay, like take time to learn this stuff because it's important. My dad used to tell me that a goal in life is to have both roots and wings, and so I have kind of tried to, I guess, format my life around that. But there's this want and need for people to experience things and to adventure, and I think that there's a different definition of that for everybody. It's usually the moms that are packing everything and taking care of all the people and doing all the things to make the trip exactly what it needs to be. And I said, well, then that's not really
It's not
a vacation. That's not unplugging. I watched my mom do it growing up. Like she was a rock star. She worked full time and then would pack everything and plan everything and do literally everything. And then the whole time we're gone, she's still doing everything. She's cooking all the food and cleaning up and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. I will do it, but to me that's not a vacation for whoever is in charge. It's not always the mom, but whoever it is, it does fall on someone. So I also have a belief that if you and your partner wait until the kids are grown and gone to do those kinds of things, you will potentially regret it because those are connective tissue types of things. And, you always say it's like the empty nest syndrome, and once they're gone, like you look at your partner, you're like,
now what?
dude, I have no idea who you are. I mean, sometimes I'll look at my partner now and I'm like, what? So can you imagine if we never did anything connective? I mean, and those are things to experience together as a couple. There's that relationship, and then there's the family and the kids. And we oftentimes get lost in this like circle of this has to be this one only. This one only. And it's all part of, you forget about you in that. Like, we are here, and if you don't feed that, what
I
happened?
think that's frustrating for women to feel like they kind of always have to prove themselves.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of
I mean, to me, I took it as a challenge because I'm like,
right on.
I never walk in like I'm the best in the room because there's always someone better. And I am a big tent person. I believe that there's room for all of us. I really, really
course.
believe that. But I'm going to be the best me or try to be. So when I was fronting a band, I'm going to go and I'm going to give a kick-ass performance. I am going to bring it.
Yeah.
And everything that leads up to that night when I'm singing, I will discipline myself and get my voice ready and I will make it a show. So I took it as a challenge. So all the naysayers out there, the people that, were thinking, oh, it's a female singer. I didn't know it was going to be a female singer tonight. I'm like, this ain't going to be karaoke, folks.
I think my success is balancing like my quality of life
Yeah.
and my personal life and my ability to just like enjoy every single day and enjoy what I do versus feeling like something was draining me.
So, as my daughter says, some people live to work and other people work to live. I work to live. Don't get me wrong. I love the people I work with, and I am a kick ass manager, but that's not my life. That's not who I am.
Like when you're 40 and when you're a woman, like there is a time, this is a time period in your life where like everything is kind of like a little unbalanced. We're going through changes. Maybe some are later in our 40s, maybe it's earlier, maybe we're not noticing or anything like that. But this is when I feel like mindfulness, creativity, coming back to ourselves and trying to just invest in that like sense of wonder is super important. And noticing what our addictive patterns are. And that's what I also said.
Like awareness
Yeah.
and understanding.
Yeah. Awareness and it's gonna suck.
Oh, yeah.
But
We get busy with our partners and our children. That becomes our focus. We forget a lot about us and what we want and what we want to do. Um, and you kind of like lose something. Everything else is a big priority over here. And, but down deep in your soul, there's other things that you want to do.
I just fell in love with watching the tendrils come away and having it take shape. And really, it's like a meditation. You stand there and something amazing happens with this piece of wood. And at the end, you can hold it, and give it to someone. Or uh, if you have a closet full of things, you have a show. And you put your stuff out and you invite your people and your friends. But yeah, making things out of wood and turning them has been something I did for me that became truly an obsession almost, but it kept me out of my daughter's hair too while she was trying to study. So that was really nice.
No matter how old we are.
Yeah.
You can just decide, I really love this, or this is really what I want to do. And there's nothing wrong with I don't care how old you are.
It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it makes your heart sing, holy mackerel, do it.
And if you can make money doing it.
And if you can make money doing it. So
Like, this
right
is-
now I get to well, at least it gets to start to pay for itself, which is really nice.
And then the other little side hustle that I do is I started selling jewelry that I purchased from someone else, but I just love doing it. And then in the last 3 weeks, I started making custom hats and custom glasses to kind of go in my store as more of something that I'm putting together, like with my creativeness. And I'm just doing that because I've always loved fashion. I always love everything to match. I'm always that person that's like, if I only had this to go with this, then I'd be okay. And now I have the flexibility to kind of just do that for people and to put sets together and, make people feel beautiful about themselves.
Nice.
If I could do that full time financially, which is like my future goal, 100%, I would quit my job in a second to go and do that.
I was started writing a blog, and I felt like that was my way of dealing with my emotions and making. But I thought it was really important. Like, I love like funny, like I love to laugh and I love funny things. So I tried to inject as much humor into things,
Right.
just because that's how I deal with things, is with humor. So yeah, so I have like a ton, like lots of blogs on like Caring Bridge and things like that, or on social media. And like I was surprised about how much people read it, and like commented on it and enjoyed hearing about it, because I think that you don't understand what people are going through.
I realigned my priorities. That was the lesson from this whole storm. And now I can't go back because now I know what I was missing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm taking that time with my daughter, I'm taking that time with my husband, my son's in college right now, but just taking that time to be mom and to be a wife and to be friend and daughter, and sister, all these titles I have, but they just get pushed to the side when nonprofit comes into play. It's what I live and breathe every day. Yeah.
Looking at why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then healing that part of me so that I could stop doing it. And then with that came some self-love. And once you have the self-love, then you can, you're getting a little bit better with your boundaries. And
Right.
it's like a natural but gradual enlightenment, I guess, like that it kind of happens to you. But through healing and through all of your, dissatisfaction with your life and accountability for it. So
Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing to me, like, that we wait so damn long.
I know. Well, I was really comfortable before I turned 40 blaming everyone else.
Well, I think people over 40 are also still comfortable with that.
I was gonna say, when you're younger, I feel like it was a lot more of winging it. You
Yeah.
know, you're just winging it.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'll just wing that. Yeah. But like you said, when you get older, more mature, you know the process, you know what you should do, and you make better decisions.
Well,
Yes.
that's
I mean, you hope so.
for the most part, I think so. I'm not sure that everyone that is over 40 picks up on that.
But there was a softening where I started learning how to understand things a lot better. I was always empathetic, but I think that grew into understanding, kind of an understanding of why people do the things that they do, and allowing a little bit more, like, that this is okay and that there's a resolution to it versus throwing it away. Because when I was younger, it'd be like, yeah, that doesn't fit.
Well, and
Doesn't fit. So I'm gonna get rid of that.
it also comes with understanding why you did some of the things that you like, or for me, for why I was doing some of the things that I was doing. And I was, you know, I just learned, I delved into it and I learned a little bit more about, okay, well, this is because this happened in your life. And so like, it's a lot easier. So once you go through that yourself, you're a lot more forgiving of others.
Juggling all these things, it's a lot. And right now I'm learning who Carlia is again. Carlia with no hair, Carlia with diet restrictions, Carlia now with a, health diagnosis. I'm learning who I am again. And some people are giving me the grace to do that and some people aren't. And I'm okay with those that aren't. I'm absolutely okay with it.
I think everyone should be celebrating that, because I think we almost like die 100 deaths throughout our lifetime. We evolve and we grieve that former self. We move past it. We said, where am I right now in this space? Mindfulness. So like it's a concept
Yeah.
where we can start to understand our challenges and how it's changed us. And people really don't get it, or they've been conditioned to think that grief is only surrounding death, or that kind of loss. But what about the millions of other losses we experience every day? And then you talk about, like, okay, we talk about women over 40. We probably already before 40 experienced about a million different losses.
Right.
May or may not have ever grieved it properly. Right. This is how you get the unresolved traumas. And,
Yeah.
So like exactly what you're saying is there's this spectrum of tons of different kinds of grief. And, I think for women over 40, when you start to, transition into that stage of your life, it adds another layer of things you're grieving. When I've said that, I've said, like, do you grieve your younger self? Do you grieve, and people look at me like I'm insane. And I'm like, has the thought ever crossed your mind as you get older that you have a finite period of time left? There's a grief that comes with that.
Being 40, and as you're going through, the stage of life of like perimenopause and then menopause and then
Which
all
is
of that stuff.
literally made worse by perimenopause, because your hormones are all over the place and you have anxiety and
Right.
Everything is like freaking doom. Like it's already you're fluctuating and you're going all over the damn place, and then here comes these thoughts like like the inevitability
Right.
that this is happening. I think it's perfectly acceptable
to go ahead and, start to grieve that.
Yeah. I mean, for sure.
Because it's
Yeah.
coming, like, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do to change that.
That's kind of like a red flag. I call it like the aging flag.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of those. I can't remember SWAT. I have to have notes for clearly for like everything. The notes on my phone is like 3,000 because I could literally go to the store and have a list and I will leave without stuff on my list. But that's part of all of those changes where like there's this phantom pain and it came out of nowhere and you wake up and it's a whole different meaning when you wake up in pain many, many years ago. You're like, now you literally just went to sleep and you have nothing to show
Imagine
for
yourself
it.
sleeping.
Yeah, yeah, like you have nothing to fight. There was no fun stories here. I had to go get my driver's license renewed, and I had to go to the actual eye doctor because you used to be able to do it like
Yeah.
at the MVA, and it was so easy. I always thought that this is the easiest thing in the world to do. I know that I'm starting to have trouble seeing like far away. So then I got to do this, and people laugh because I'm like, I can't see it. But I did pass it.
Good job.
I'm good. I'll stick with squinting, but the squinting gets you like
Wrinkles. I mean, I'm not really doing anything about it right now, but it's on my list of things to do is my muscle tone. Like, like I'll notice it on the dance floor. If I get low, I'm stuck.
I mean, I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I mean, I'm just like high on life. Like, I don't know.
I think that's the positivity portion of that. I think that's a piece of wellness. I think doing your very best to find those silver linings
Oh
and
yeah,
those
I
kinds
love
of
silver
things.
linings. They're the
It's
best.
practicing gratitudes and all of those things. I think that's a really big part of staying well.
What are some of the, like the top things people refer to you for?
Absolutely. I think the biggest one is blood sugar dysregulation. So
Makes sense.
high blood sugar, higher A1C, being pre-diabetic, that type of thing. That usually goes hand in hand also with high cholesterol and hypertension. And ironically, all three of those things directly correlate to also changes in our hormones. So you know what I mean? It kind of all goes
Connecting the
together.
dots.
Yeah. I mean, as our estrogen drops, we become less sensitive to blood sugar and less sensitive to insulin and whatnot. And people develop insulin resistance. So, it really just shifts. So estrogen plays a role in all of that. Or one of the big things that I'm really heavily focused on right now is helping people reduce inflammation in their body because it is tied to so many different areas and the inflammatory response due to stress, due to like trauma or a history of adverse childhood experiences, all weave in and they can drive up inflammation in the body and make all those other things that we normally experience as perimenopause, menopause, etc., worse. People underestimate the impact that stress has on the body, on the brain, on everything. Most people have heard about cortisol belly, stress hormone, etc. And as a stress hormone, one of the functions that cortisol does, it helps your body to know that it has to bring sugar into the bloodstream so that you can either fight a threat or flee a threat, right? So if you are becoming more stressed, you might end up having higher levels of cortisol, dumps sugar into your bloodstream. If you are having hormonal fluctuations, PMS even,
Yes.
you can become more stressed. And then that creates another scenario. Now, as you age, if you are less sensitive to insulin, you're dumping more sugar into your bloodstream, then you're not being able to pull it out into your cells as well as you should be. And you end up having higher blood sugar or you have other, downstream effects of this. So that's where you get into sort of this mental health component of it as well, because anytime you are triggering things that are causing inflammation in your body, you can set your body up to being
on the edge, right?
We are all out of time for this episode. Thank you guys for joining us.
And thank you to my guests.
I always love hanging out with you.
You can find all of our information on our website at
allgreatthingsllc.life.
We post weekly.
You can listen to this podcast on Apple and Spotify or watch on our YouTube channel.
I tell you every time.
If you are watching, please make sure that you like and subscribe
so you can never miss out on our shenanigans.
Thank you again, and can't wait to see you next time here on All Things Pink.
You gotta get out there and explore, baby, let your love